Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Okay, my tape is on. We're just waiting for everything to catch up. How am I doing there, Matt?
Oh, the sound worked. Are we doing closed captioning today?
I didn't do it
Do that.
because I couldn't figure it out. We'll make sure we have it ready for next. Okay?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sounds working.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Sunshine Law. Notice of date, time, and place has been furnished to the record in Ridgewood News. Notice has also been posted on the Bulletin Board of the Administration Building. Would the clerk kindly take the roll?
Mayor Giordano.
Here.
Mr. Bjork.
Here.
Mr. Orovitz.
Here.
Mr. Schatz.
Here.
Mrs. Sherman.
Here.
Would everyone kindly rise, pledge allegiance? Let's have a moment of silence for our Waldwick veterans and all veterans across our country who have given the ultimate sacrifice to keep all of us free. Will the clerk kindly do the prayer?
We thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused us to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we ask that you would come by the Holy Spirit and inspire our hearts today. Come fill our lives with your love, fill our conversations with your grace and truth, fill this meeting with your presence. We ask this for your glory and praise. Amen.
Amen. Good evening, everyone. Before we start our committees, I just want to address the council on one issue. Last week, there was a little bit of talking going around with all of us, and it was recorded in the machinery that's here, and the public heard it. We are here as professionals to do our job. We are not here to talk when we're not supposed to talk, and the right thing to do is just follow the rules, which is Robert's rules that this town has always been governed on. Under my report, I just want to say a couple of things. We are having a special concert in Borough Park this Sunday. We will have our Recreation and Health Committee Chair, Mrs. Sherman, talk about that under her Recreation report. Also, our last concert for the season will be October 6th at the Oval this year. And this will be like probably the last time it'll be at the Oval because everything now is being brought into Borough Park. Seems that's a bigger area and people enjoy that a little bit more. Other than that, I have nothing else to report. Financial Administrative Committee, Mr. Shalero is not here right now. He has left nothing for us to report for him. Fire and Police Protection Committee, Mr. Orovitz.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report this evening.
Thank you very much. Public Safety Committee, Mr. Schatz.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report.
Thank you very much. Recreation and Health Committee, Mrs. Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended a Board of Health meeting on Thursday, September 16th. They've had some staffing changes, and the new employees are fitting in nicely and doing a wonderful job and learning the way of their office works. They continue with their inspections. They continue to monitor and provide information and do contact tracing for COVID. As of 9/14, 67% of our residents are vaccinated. 18 to 29-year-olds are at 82%, 30 through 64 are at 82%, and 65 and over are winning at 93%. They're encouraging unvaccinated residents to get vaccinated. Patrick met with the pool concession operator, and overall, he was pleased with the 2021 season and looking forward to working in Waldeck in 2022. Sales were good, equipment provided met all of his needs. The sales were a little slower than he hoped, but he's hoping next year will be better as more people join the pool and notice and use the concession stand. The tennis courts at Veterans Park will be restriped this Wednesday or Thursday to correct the bleeding they experienced with the first application of paint, and it will take approximately 1 day. It's being coordinated with the high school tennis team because they use the courts for their season. As the mayor mentioned, on October 3rd, the Waldeck Lions Club is sponsoring a concert at the Oval where they will be handing over their lights that they donated to the borough. Mayor Giordano will be accepting the lights from them at a ceremony that begins at 4:15, so we hope everyone comes out. If you guys all come, we'll have a start. The concert will start at 4:30. And then there's a second concert that will be at the Oval, as Mr. Mayor said, on October 6th. It will be the Moonlighters. It's been moved to the Oval because it's been rescheduled multiple times due to the weather, and the Moonlighters apparently cannot see their music by moonlight, so they had to move to the Oval, where they could utilize the new lights that the Lions Club generously donated to the borough. Farmer Phil has canceled performing in Waldwick, and we're pretty disappointed in them and the fact that they canceled flat out. They were canceled once due to weather, and then they had multiple scheduling conflicts and just said, we're not going to do it. The 5K was a great success in Waldwick. It was a sunny day and a wonderful day for Waldwick. There were many residents out there. It was a well-run race, staffed by many volunteers. There were beautiful speeches given, and little Cole McKeon was honored at the 5K. He was there with his family, and it was great to see him looking so well. There were bagpipers from the Bergen Police Pipe Band there, and Councilman Shalero and myself ran in it, and it was a great race. Don beat me by, I think, 3 seconds. So. And then I'll have some to report under new business. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and one other note. Congratulations to you and your wife on the birth of your grandson.
Thank you.
Very lovely.
Thank you. Mrs. McNamara's not here. She didn't leave no report. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Mr. Bjork.
Thank you, Mayor. I visited a few of the paved streets and spoke to a few of our residents. They're all very pleased with the work and the choreography of getting cars in and out, especially over on the cul-de-sacs. Under consent agenda, we're going to be awarding the public safety building insulation work this evening. The hydro raking was completed. If anybody still reads the paper besides me, there was a couple pictures in there and articles about, you know, the hydro raking going on. And one actually really big, colorful spread over the weekend. I don't know if you saw those or not. Yeah. And Terry hit on the tennis courts being restriped. We'll have some policy votes that affect buildings and grounds. And just to follow up on that Lions event, this was actually a furnished and installed project that the Lions Club did for the 100th anniversary of the township founding, which is already 2 years ago. And due to the COVID, we weren't able to have the event. So hopefully you guys can make it out there. And we've tested the lights from what I remember a couple of years ago. Hopefully they still work. And we'll have Mike Latour on hand just in case. So, and that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our Administrator, Patrick.
No report. Thank you, Mayor.
Our Clerk, Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I did mention at the last meeting that I'd be going to elections training. I did that, and I also went to a state elections training as well. The county training was very interesting. As you know, we'll be using ePad, e-poll books, which are basically a pretty powerful iPad that we learned on hand at the meeting. It has a printer, it has a hotspot. We learned how to search for anyone and everyone in their little test case. It's easy to use, but I'm going to let you know that you're not supposed to be going fast. You need to be accurate because you need to check in the correct person so that they can sign with their little stylus that they're going to get from the state who's giving us those. So I would strongly suggest, and it was brought up at the training, and I do have it on our website, and it's in the email blast from now until election, and I'll be saying it forever. The quickest way to check yourself in is to bring your sample ballot with you, because the barcode on the front of your sample ballot can go under the scanner, and it it reads it, and your name comes right up, you sign, and you're on your way. We'll have it's a two-paper audit trail for just this election. This will be the last election we are using these machines, but they have decided that we're going to be using two-paper. You'll get two paper receipts that you'll give to the person on the machine. The state then went into Bob Giles, who's the director of New Jersey Elections, Division of Elections. He really went over early voting. Early voting, in-person early voting is happening, and it was signed into law March of this year. Basically, there's 9 different sites throughout the county. You can go to any of those sites from October 23rd to October 31st, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have the fancy voting machines. They can change to Waldwick's sample ballot so that you can vote on that machine. Again, they'll have the e-poll books. The e-poll books are real time, so there's no more piece of paper that I have to run around with on Tuesday morning to say, oh my God, this person's a mail-in ballot. It's all 700,000 voters are in that e-poll book, and it's updated in real time. If anybody would like to be a board worker, they are in need of board workers. Again, I have that information on our website as well. I've sent stuff out to the both party leaders to ask them for their help again. Again, the 3 ways to vote are on our website. Obviously, you can go to the polls on election day. You can do early in-person voting, or you can still do vote by mail. Our drop box is open. Our signs are out there. Hopefully, they didn't walk. I didn't go look today, but they were there yesterday, so hopefully they're there. And the only other thing that I have is that our weekly community update has a new format. So hopefully everyone's finding that easy to read and then click on the links and find out more information on the topics that are in the weekly email blast. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Grant Administrator Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give the council and the public an update on Ted Bell Park. On 2 Fridays ago, Pat, myself, and the borough engineer went to the park to go over the initial designs and to hammer down a timetable for the project. Our initial plan had been to do the park in 2 phases, Phase 1 and Phase 2, go out to bid soon for Phase 1, and then next year do Phase 2. The idea for that was because it split the funding up, and we didn't think that we'd be able to get both sets of funding in time to do both together. However, upon reaching out to the county, we just found out that the award for the 2021 open space grant is going to be awarded on December 10th, which is great for us because we're going to be able to do it in one bid, the entire Phase 1 and Phase 2. So the current plan now is to have the 3D renderings at the next council meeting, which we can share with the council and the public to get any last feedback from the public. And then we will go out to bid in November with hopes to award the contract on December 14th. Construction would then start in the winter with a finish date would be Memorial Day. That is the plan, and we should be able to have it 100% finished by Memorial Day. So that was good news that we can finish this faster than anticipated, as well with consolidating it to one bid, we should be able to see some savings versus 2. So that's all.
I know you've been getting, every meeting you've been telling everybody to, call you with any ideas. Any ideas come through?
I've had Access for All reach out once. Individual members of the public, I have not. I think they will be satisfied with the final project, but again, next council meeting, the borough engineer confirmed that he'll have the renderings for us,
Right.
which we'll be able to share with anyone, and would always welcome feedback from the public.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I had an opportunity to look at the plans with Matthew and our administrator, and I think, like you said, everybody would be very happy what goes on. As Matt always said, please, if you have any ideas, let him know. Don't go on Facebook and say you don't know nothing about it when you never called us to tell us anything like we've been asking you all along. Our attorney, Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm pleased to report that we have the signed agreement, partially signed agreement for the M&T property. The rear portion went to M&T for their signature. Once we get that back, we'll proceed to closing. So hopefully we'll be closed within the next 30 to 45 days.
Good.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Consent resolutions and resolutions of the governing body.
Be it resolved that the following resolutions herewith listed by consent, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Waldwick, are hereby passed and approved as amended with the removal of Resolution 2021-289 and with the addition of Policy Vote C. Awaz and Stacy Zaber request to request an approval to install a fence at 21 Scott Street for the 2 easements on the property, as discussed in their September 24th meeting. 2021-278, approval of consent agenda. 2021-279, approval of minutes, regular meeting September 14th. Policy Vote A, Tracy Gallo / Claire Jacquin, request to use Pavilion B on October 17th from 12 noon till dusk for a family birthday party with alcoholic beverages being served. B, Terry Abbott requests to use Pavilion A on October 9th from 12 p.m. to dusk for a family birthday party with alcoholic beverages being served. I already read C to you. 2021-280, award a fair and open contract to Arista Builders and Designers, Inc. for the Public Safety Building Insulation Improvements Project in the amount of $87,000. 2021-281, authorized waiver of permit fees for Waldwick Board of Education for the fire alarm control panel replacement. 2021-282, authorized waiver of permit fees for the Borough of Waldwick for the Public Safety Building Insulation Improvements Project. 2021-283, authorized release of a road opening escrow, Block 144, Lot 8. 2021-284, authorized salary for electrical subcode inspector. 2021-285, authorized rehiring of per diem crossing guard Edmund Grotzma. 2021-286, authorized appointment of per diem crossing guard Terry Burke. 2021-287, accept resignation of Joe Simeon as full-time public safety telecommunicator and appoint as per diem public safety telecommunicator. 2021-288, authorize appointment of full-time public safety telecommunicator Alexandra Chacoli. And 2021-290, payment of vouchers.
Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Greg, second by Terry. Anyone on the question?
Yeah, Mayor, I think I might have a correction on the minutes. I meant to get a hold of you before the meeting, but I
okay.
didn't. It's under the council comments on ordinance 2021-26, which was the municipal pool, and it says I asked about leaving the option to exclude residents. I think it was include non-residents is what I had asked about.
Okay, I'll go
And
back and
the
look at it.
result of that is we're not going to do it by ordinance, though, correct?
I'll go
Is that your recollection, Patrick, that I had asked, like, did we have the option of including non-residents? And we said that that's not handled by ordinance anymore, I think, correct?
The portion of the ordinance that we were amending wasn't the one that said whether or not we could have
Right.
residents. That was the answer to your.
Right, and my
I'll
question
go
was,
back and just listen to it again.
yeah, all right, so basically, I think I was questioning whether or not we can include non-residents, okay.
Yeah, specifically, it was under 87-4A, where we had said residents of other communities may be able to utilize the pool on an annual basis upon approval of the mayor and council at a fee to be determined by resolution. We struck that from the ordinance because that fee is set by ordinance.
Right.
Yes.
So so technically, we have the option of allowing people from out of town to come to the
Absolutely.
pool, but it's just
Yes.
a different menu.
Not governed in this
Yeah,
section of the
yeah,
code.
okay. That
Correct.
was it, so, and I don't think I had any other comments on any of the rest of the items. Thank you.
Anyone else? Just a couple of ones that I'll just discuss. Usually Don discusses them, so I'll just do it. The one for the Walter Board of Education fire alarm replacement. What that was is their fire alarm panel went out, and they didn't know if they were going to be able to open up the school in time to have all this done. There was a big meeting between the town and the Board of Ed to see about what's going to happen just in case, because we have to make sure safety for the children are all right. But they did get everything in time, and what they're doing is they're putting in a new control paneling, and they're asking us to waiver all their fees, which we usually do for the Board of Ed. It's not a problem, but we just have to go through the motions of doing this. Also, 2021-284, the salary of the electrical sub-inspector. The gentleman has been working very hard, doing double work than he usually does, and for that reason, we have to increase his salary, and we're going to do that in an ordinance tonight also, as well. And then the other ones are all just, we've been advertising for dispatches, per diem and regular dispatches, part-time, full-time crossing guards and of that nature, and these are the women and the men that came forward that would like to apply for a job. Our administrator, and I guess our clerk, and I think Matt, was on the interviews with these individuals, and they found them worthy of becoming members of our department, and they're very happy with all that. Anyone else? Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Bjork?
Yes.
Mr. Orvitz?
Yes.
Mr. Schatz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, on the public hearings, adoption of ordinances, would the clerk kindly read ordinance number 2021-25?
Ordinance number 2021, number 25, an ordinance amending Chapter 64 Park, Section 2, prohibited activities.
Anyone from the council would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? What this is saying is, what we're doing is we're looking at our ordinances and we're just tweaking them a little bit. This ordinance says that you are to get a free permit if you want to put any type of boat in the water, in White's Pond. That's all this is saying. Right now, there's no fee for it. In the future, if we think there'll be a fee associated with this, the council will come back and discuss it at a later date. Anyone else from the council would like to discuss this? If not, I close the council's comments and open up to the public. Anybody from the public would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? If not, I close the public's comments and ask for a motion and a second to pass this ordinance on second reading, and the clerk be authorized to advertise in local legal newspapers as required by law. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, second by Terry. Clerk, kindly take the roll.
Mr. Bjork?
Yes.
Mr. Orvitz?
Yes.
Mr. Schatz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, would the clerk kindly read ordinance number 2021-26?
Ordinance number 2021, number 26, an ordinance amending Chapter 87, swimming pool municipal, to revise Sections 87-4 Rules and Regulations of the municipal pool to update existing rules and include additional rules.
Anyone from the council would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? What this one is saying is that the health department has given us some guidelines from what we have to add to our ordinance already, which was given to them by the state. What we're doing is we're following the state's rules to adopt these ordinances, so we're all in conformance with the same rules. Anyone else? I close the council's comments and open up to the public. Anybody from the public would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? If not, I ask for a motion and a second to pass this ordinance on second reading and that the clerk be authorized to advertise it in local legal newspapers as required by law. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Greg, second by Terry. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Bjork?
Yes.
Mr. Orvitz?
Here.
Mr.
Yes.
Schatz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Would the clerk kindly read ordinance number 2021-27?
Ordinance number 2021, number 27, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2021, number 08, fixing the compensation, salaries, and wages of officials and employees of the Borough of Waldwick, and this is specifically for the electrical subcode official.
Does anyone from the council like to comment on this ordinance that was just read?
I think we discussed this at the last meeting. We were getting a high volume of electrical inspections, and we need to authorize more compensation for all those inspections.
Right, and that hooks up with the 2021-284. Anyone else from the council? I close the council's comments. Anybody from the public would like to comment on this ordinance that was just read? If not, I ask for a motion and a second to pass this ordinance on second reading and that the clerk be authorized to advertise it in local legal newspapers as required by law. Motion? Motion by Terry, second by Greg.
So we're
Clerk-
going that side of the
Clerk-
dais this time. You guys,
Clerk, take the roll.
Joe is here, you
Mr.
know.
Bjork?
Yes.
Mr. Horvitz?
Yes.
Mr. Schatz? Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
I guess Donald's going to be very proud of us tonight.
I know.
Any unfinished business anybody from the council has?
Got a couple quick things. On the Department of Labor request for the library compensation, what's going to be the decision on whether or not we ask those guys that? I had asked at the last meeting about possibly, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but I would like to at least discuss the possibility of talking to them.
Well, why don't we do it right now? I think a lot of the council are not in favor of bringing somebody else in when we have auditors and we have a CFO and an administrator that are doing things. What is the pleasure of the council?
I don't think we should get involved with the Department of Labor as far as salary is concerned. I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
Is there any?
Very good. It's unfinished business.
Anyone else from unfinished business? New business, just want to talk about at the end of the month, like we always do, we're having the Ragamuffin Parade. Chuck, thank you very much for doing that once again for us, and also the Trunk or Treat. It's the week before, week before Halloween. It's on the 23rd, I think, rain date the 24th. So it's advertised all over the place. It's all in our website. It's all over social media. If anybody wants to know anything about it, just go onto the site and you'll find out what's going on. It's a great event. Young kids like it a lot. I think the older residents even like it even more. It gets to have their kids use their uniform or their costume twice instead of only one time. And we get donations from a farm. And again, just let me know the name of the farm again, and we'll take care of them and thank them very much in the letter.
Yeah, I just saw him last weekend, I told him he's gonna get a couple hundred puss out for us.
Good,
So we're in good shape.
good. And then we'll talk before the thing's over. Okay, thank you very much. Any other new business?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor. I wanted to report that the beautification committee had a second work day, and we did great work. We worked at Veterans Park. We planted mums around the flagpole and in several areas in Veterans Park. We weeded, we raked up the mulch to make it look nice and fresh. We worked at the municipal building planting mums. We split some plants out front, some lilies, and spaced them throughout the mums. We mulched the entire front entranceway, and it really came out pretty. We then went over to the Christopher Goodell Public Safety Building where we planted mums under the police department sign. We had previously done the electronic sign the week before, so we planted a bunch of mums, we weeded, we worked on the area near the memorials, and we filled a half a dumpster of weeds. We really did a lot of work there. We're going to be separating some of the lilies that are over there and planting them in other places throughout the borough. We placed mulch around all the Welcome to Waldwick signs where we had previously planted mums the week before. And on a good news note, we heard from the DOT, and they're looking, they agreed with us that they would be interested in planting around Route 17 next spring. In the spring, they don't want to do it now because winter's coming quickly. They'll be sending us aerial photos of potential areas to plant pollinating plants, and I'll be meeting with Patrick to see if we agree with the areas they say. And I want to thank Patrick for all his help in reaching out to these agencies, because it wouldn't be done without you, and I so appreciate you and your efforts. And we have many more ideas for projects and big projects that are coming, so I'll have more information on the future. But my committee, the beautification committee, is really doing nice work already. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, for Halloween and Thanksgiving, the DPW takes care of putting the bales of hay and the stalks, so you don't have to worry about that. And they get the flowers.
Okay,
We'll let them earn their money.
okay.
And, but if you have any ideas for them, just, reach out to Patrick, go in contact with Michael Latour. Michael Latour does it all every year, and he does a great job.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Anyone else on the new business?
Mayor, I have a few things.
Sure.
I had a citizen reach out to me with 3 completely separate questions. One was a comment about the possibility of adding 2 additional handicap parking spots along the strip of the shops by East Prospect Street. And this particular citizen kind of compared it to the library, which has 2 such spots, but that does not seem to solve the problem. He says, or she says, the number of cars that ignore the crosswalk make it a little difficult to cross from a handicap spot over to there. And I told him I'd mention it, and maybe Patrick, I'll follow up tomorrow with more formal written question about all this. The other one was, this might actually be old business. I think this one's been talked about, but the possibility he asks about changing no turn on red 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coming off of Monroe Street, hanging a right. And I kind of remember we talked about it,
They
but
wouldn't do that.
they won't even let you do it at 11 o'clock at night or anything?
We looked-
And that's the county that told us that.
We looked into it.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remembered it, obviously, I forgot the exact
I
answer.
think Councilwoman McNamara brought it up.
Yeah, I think she
And we-
did.
We did some
Yeah, she
work-
lives over
research
there.
on it.
Okay. And then finally, this same resident was asking about the ability of a private citizen to donate trees to the borough, and specifically with regards to the location down by the borough park playground. Apparently, this person has observed a few trees removed over the most recent years from disease and this and that, and is wondering if they are allowed to donate trees.
Patrick could talk to you about that tomorrow, but it's funny you should say that, because today Patrick talked to me about what a lot of residents are doing is, in memory of their loved ones, they are purchasing a bench that is all over Borough Park, and we put a plate on it for them, and they paid a fee for it. DPW puts it into the ground. Patrick approached me today and asked me, maybe it would be a nice idea too, you give residents an option, have a tree or have a bench. And I said that was a great idea, but, you know, figure it all out so that when someone calls me, I know what to tell them, what type of tree it is, and the cost factor. But we could also discuss that about trees in Borough Park or wherever.
Okay. And then Don and I had spoke about this. I saw an email back from Don about trying to maybe put up some vote today signs to try to help remind people of the fact that they're supposed to vote on Election Day. And this isn't at the polling places. This is more at main intersections where people are hopping in their car, taking off for work, heading out to 208, heading into Midland Park, Wyckoff, Hohokus, and they never pass a polling place and they forget to vote. So I was hopeful that our administrator could possibly get a couple signs and get them put out at some main intersections to remind us to vote. And then, Mayor, with regards to your comment earlier tonight, what would be the procedure that Robert's Rules wants us to use when we interact with the public when they're about to make their comments? Because I think you're probably referring to the banter between me and
No.
Joe about what the lady was asking.
When Robert's rule, well, what happens is when the public comes to talk, we give them the respect, and they do the talking, we do the listening. We
Right.
thank them for their comment. Usually what they're discussing would be something that the administrator would know about, the attorney knows about, and the mayor knows about. For all of us to answer questions to them, or sometimes when we had our own conversations here, we had a man standing there for like a minute trying to talk, and we're talking. That's disrespectful to them, because that's their time of the meeting to do this. Our time is under your report, our time is under the new business, and our time is under the old business. And if you read Robert's Rules, we have not been following them that closely. And I'm a stickler for that, and I let it go a lot, and it cannot be done anymore. It's not fair to the residents. And plus, now, people are watching this, and our discussions, your sidebars talking, everybody sees this, everybody hears this, and it's not good. I was approached by the clerk to tell me that, and the administrator the next day, that they reviewed this, and they didn't look good. We looked like it was a circus up there last week, and I don't think that's gonna ever happen again.
Yeah, I don't think, from at least my perspective, Joe, you can comment. I think we were just trying to react to what the resident was asking, and if we don't have an opportunity to, help them out or answer some of their questions, that's all we were really trying to do. Obviously, we got a little out of hand talking amongst each other, but do we have the opportunity to say, hey, Mayor, I'd like to address that resident's comments?
You do, but nobody does. Everybody just shouts, and that's where it's gonna stop.
Right, so we should.
You have to give
The
respect.
procedure is to ask you, say, hey, listen, can I comment on what he or
Mr.
she
Mayor,
just
could I
said?
address this resident? And
Right.
that's what happens. We have gone away from that,
Right.
and it's not gonna happen again.
Understood.
Anybody else, new business? Public's comment. Anybody from the public would like to comment? You could kindly come up here to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Maureen Poppy, and I reside at 78 Longview Drive. And the reason why I'm here this evening is I have a situation with a neighbor who lives behind me on Cypress Court who has put up a fence at the rear of my property. It is on his property lines. There's an easement that is in the back of my property that runs along many homes on Longview Drive. This particular neighbor resides at 22 Cypress Court. He put up a fence, and he additionally put up a gate that opens onto my property, with the lock of the gate opening onto my property. I had questioned him about it, and I actually reached out to the building department and was told that the purpose of the gate was to have access to where the easement is. But what I don't understand is why the gate would be opening again on my property instead of opening onto his property. When I had a conversation with him previously about this, he said that he was going to speak to the fence company about changing it, and he has not done so, and it's been over a year since this was installed. So I'm looking to see if there's a way that that gate can be replaced possibly with an emergency egress gate that would only give him access in the event that someone needed to gain access to the easement in the back of the property through the town. He has used the gate, his children have used the gate to come through my property. One other thing that I want to note is when he put the gate up, it does not fully butt along the right side property of my neighbor's gate, who happens to be a relative of his, and they reside at 84 Longview Drive. And there has been 2 incidences where deer have gotten trapped in between the portion of the gates that don't meet, and animal control has had to come and shoot the deer.
We will have our administrator speak to our building inspector, and they'll get in contact with you, because that is a concern that people come onto your property without you knowing.
I have actually had to call the police in the beginning of August. I don't know if it was the homeowner or his son, but they were on my property after midnight with flashlights. And we truly didn't know who it was. We were in the family room watching TV, and we saw the flashlights in the back of the property. We got concerned, called the police, and then we saw the flashlights go in through the gate.
Yep, our administrator will get back. We have your name and your address, and what we'll do is we'll talk to the building inspector, and somebody will either come to your home or call you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Janet Haskell, 98 Longview Drive. I live on Longview Drive just like Maureen Poppy does, and there is an easement that goes all behind all the houses. Now, we have a fence. We've never put a gate on our fence. And one time, the town had to go into the easement, and they literally knock on your door and ask you if they can come on your property. So to put that gate up there is not right, because, I mean, I have a fence. A lot of people have a fence on there, and nobody else has a gate there, using the easement as a reason to put that there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, everyone. My name's Kathleen Circle. I live at 16 Drive. I have a question for Kelly about the e-pads that you were talking about. Is that just bringing the sample ballot to help look someone up? Is that just for early voting, or is that for regular voting?
That's for both.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Just want to clarify.
Yep,
Thanks,
no
guys.
problem. Thank you.
Anyone else? Are we going into close for any reason? Chuck?
Chuck Wanamaker, Waldo Community Alliance. Just want to let you know, we are going to take that stuff down off the poles. They've overdone their welcome there. We're going to put the flowers up, the fall flowers. But I wanted to ask if possible, could we get we got like 5 lights that are out now. The nice thing is, they did one in front of the flower shop, or I call it the flower shop, a little cafe that's there. They put like the newer style bulb, the white one. It's very more efficient, and it does a lot more lighting. Maybe we could, because there's so many of them out now, we could maybe ask them to switch us over. Because we're going to be putting up when we take down the fall flowers, we'll be putting up the Christmas wreaths. Be nice to be able to see them, you know?
I did reach out to Patrick about that when we spoke, and Patrick is working with them.
I know they're tough to work with, public service, it's tough. It ain't no joke, I know, it's just, whatever we could do, maybe, I don't know, we gotta get somebody that can get to them, hopefully. Years ago I could have, but now they're all gone. All right, thank you, appreciate it, thanks. I just want to let you know we're gonna get those banners down, all right? Okay, thank
And
you.
we're going to also work on a new type of banners for next year. A lot of the veterans have been asking about
Yeah, those,
See another
those are
town.
the ones that weren't so expensive. As you can tell, they didn't make it.
We're gonna do some type of.
They didn't make it.
Yeah, we're gonna do a program, Kelly and I are working on it right now, to see about having, if any veteran family would like to have a picture of their loved one on the pole, and we'll put them up during, like, the stuff that are up now, next year will be a little bit different. It'll be like the red, white, and blue flag, and then a picture of a veteran. And we're gonna try to see if we can go down that block.
That's perfect.
We
And
have a
that-
lot of veterans that. might
That
want to
truck
do
you
it.
guys okayed for the town, that was a good step. That was a well-needed piece of equipment. Really, it'll be good for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Well-needed. Good choice. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? I'll go on the right side.
So moved.
Motion by Joe, second by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?